So the Nigerian government on Wednesday announced that investment pledges amounting to nearly $14 billion were committed during the Nigeria-India Presidential Roundtable and conference held in New Delhi. That roundtable, led by President Bola Tinubu, was supported by a large team of big-name industrialists, bankers, investment advisors, cabinet ministers, and others. Now, Adefeko, the Public Information Affairs at NASIMA, which is Nigeria's chamber for commerce, industry, mines, and agriculture, was at the roundtable event, and I chatted to him in New Delhi about an hour ago on the outcome or the highlights of the investment roadshow. Let's listen.
Speaking to you from what we used to call back in the day Incredible India. We're in New Delhi on the sidelines of the G20 summit, which is starting in about a day or two's time. This is the first time and the very first major outing of our president, and in conjunction with the private sector, to come and speak, nation to nation and pledge bilaterals. Over $14 billion dollars worth of investment pledges have been made. So that's serious. That's to tell you that Nigeria is open for business. So in the last 2 days, we've been having hearty conversations on the area of healthcare, oil and gas, agriculture, IT, and the likes. So, for example, I can just give you quick insights. Quickly, let me rush through. I think 1.6 billion was pledged by Skipper. Bharti, of course, Airtel did $700 million. Jindal did $3 billion. Indorama is doing $8 billion. And there's another military corporation, which in conjunction with the Indian military and DICON are trying to do something in the area of about $1 billion. So there's a lot happening in interesting investments. Yes, the Indian military in conjunction with DICON. So for us, the organized private sector, we're very impressed. We're elated that government has decided to come with a very powerful private sector delegation. As you know, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Mines, Industry, Agriculture are here. And we are leading the private sector delegation on the business roundtable that we've been having in the last 2 days. The Indians are happy, they're elated, they're very, very, very impressed with what we have come with. We've come with a coterie of a potpourri of suits of what we want, what our asks, and how we can be mutually beneficial to each other. Of course, this is on the sidelines of the G20, which is holding in India. We're talking about almost 41 heads of state coming to this country. But I think for us, it's a very, very good opportunity for us to showcase who we are as a nation and to tell the world that we're open for business.
Well, interesting, Adefeko, but what are your takeaways in terms of what these foreign direct investors are looking to see for their investments in Nigeria? What are they saying?
I think what is important, and if you can go back to what the president said, and the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, spoke extempore. Most times you always have the president of the country reading a speech. He didn't read a prepared speech. He spoke straight from the heart and says, you know what? Nigeria is ready for business. You guys come here, any cog in the wheel of progress, I'm ready to take it off. And that was quite impressive for us, those of us in the organized private sector. The Indians who spoke to me, told me that they were very happy that the president spoke from the heart. He was accompanied by 4 ministers. He was accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, of course, because of the reasons of the fact that it's bilateral and has a foreign affairs component. Of course, it was the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Olawale Edun, is here as well. So important to have these 2 ministers who are very key. And of course, the Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Digital Economy, very important. So of course, this is the hub of IT, in the world, globally, as it were. And of course, the organized private sector came. You can see Tony Olumelu there. You can see Bola Shagaya came through. Eleganza Okoya came as well. There were different fora. There were different bilaterals. There were different sectors that discussions were held. It was pretty impressive. And just before I came on set, the Minister of Budget and Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, came in. And of course, we just finished less than 10 minutes ago the Nigerian diaspora meeting with the president, where he told them that, what we need here is a mindset change. And that Nigerians, after finishing anything they do here, they should come home and contribute their own quota. Again, it's important for you to know that around in the year 2020 or 2021, I'm not quite sure now, the diaspora remittances amounted to over $20 billion. That's a lot. So, of course, diaspora remittances from India is about $100 billion. So you can look at it 5 times. So what we can do is to probably create a diaspora fund, I mean, we can be creative in many other ways. But like I said, investments are coming in from India. India, of course, is the world's largest democracy. Nigeria is Africa's largest democracy. So both of us working in tandem will promote what we call bilateral relationships that are of mutual benefit to both parties and to both countries.
Yeah, well, now, in terms of what the investment propositions were from the side of the Nigerian government and the rest of you in the private sector, big names on the delegation, talk to me about that. I'm sure your business is also involved in agriculture, agro-allied, and that's one of the mainstay of Nigeria, as you said, the country with one of the largest arable land, not only in Africa, but in the world.
What I think was very important, that was a big takeaway, was that government says any hindrances that you have, ease of doing business will be something that will be brought to fore. Of course, you know, the Minister of Trade is equally here, Dr. Doris Anite. So, I mean, a powerful delegation, a lean delegation, which was sector specific. So we had, like I said, we had area of information technology on the one hand, we had finance, we had trade and investment. And it was very important to have these critical ministers and ministers, of course, foreign affairs. So, you know, so that was very good. What government was saying is that, listen, we will provide an enabling environment for you guys to come in and put your capital in. And as you know, capital is mobile. If the capital doesn't come from India, it should come from elsewhere. And if Nigeria doesn't open itself for capital to come from India, that capital will go elsewhere. So India right now has leapfrogged. I mean, what you call a quantum leap, okay, in development over the last 30 years. The last 10 years have been very impressive under the government of Narendra Modi. And of course, for us as well, we intend to see a leapfrog or a change, you know, with what is happening. The Presidential Roundtable and Business Conference, as you can see from the pictures on screen, you have the Nigerian side, you have the Indian side. The Indian side are guys who are already doing business in Nigeria, and the other side are the people who want to do business with India. So very powerful, like I said. We're talking about Skipper, we're talking about Bharti, we're talking about Jindal, we're talking about Indorama. The president made an allusion to something with regards to Indorama. He said, you know what, before I came into power, it was a bottleneck that Indorama had. And with just a statement and urging the minister of the NNPC, GMD, came to me and said, I have a problem. This is the problem. And the president said, you know what, I'll solve it, but you solve it. I've mandated you to solve it, solve it. And with that, Indorama is bringing $1 billion into Nigeria. So those are the kind of things. Of course, Olam Agri itself is pledging $100 million for a soya crushing facility in Nigeria, okay, as an additional investment to the over $1.5 to $2 billion they've already made. So these are very significant steps towards making sure that we'll inflate this economy. Of course, you know, this economy is quasi-comatose, but we need to just rev it. So what we're doing now is revving. From here, of course, you know, the next step or the next destination will be at the UN General Assembly. So I think what is important is Nigeria is open for business. We need a mindset change. These are the words that are coming up from our President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And what the private sector really likes here is that the government is partnering with the private sector, because you know what? Of course, you know, the president we have right now has a private sector. It's pro-business and has had a private sector background. So it's very important, because let's be frank with ourselves. I don't think government can fund a lot of these things. So they need public-private sector partnership. Very important. We need to reflect this economy. We need to make sure that, you know what, we get our refineries working. As we get our refineries working, these multiple exchange rate issues that we have, we need to make sure that, yes, inflows come in. So diaspora remittances are very, very important. So if we have to make sure that we give them bonds that are very, very, very attractive, okay, for diaspora remittances to come in, I think that's the way out. Very, very important.
Okay, Adefeko, to sum it up, you represent the largest chamber of commerce, industry, mines, and agriculture in Nigeria. That's NASIMA. So that's quite very heavy. Yes. So what's your take home back to NASIMA from this being part of the presidential delegation to India?
What is important is for you to know that NASIMA has over 70 associate chambers. And NASIMA is the only chamber that is recognized for bilateral discussions and multilateral discussions outside the country. Okay? Chambers of commerce are very important and very, very, very key to development. So all the B2Bs that we were having were in discussions with the business of India, okay, who are the ones having bilaterals with us and who are keen on coming to Nigeria and bringing investments into Nigeria. So what was important was that the chamber, representing the organized private sector, representing over 70 chambers of commerce, said to the Indian private sector, we're open for business as well. When you need anything, we're a one-stop shop. We'll help you. We'll speak to you. If there are impediments, we'll talk to government to make sure that you come in. So capital inflows are very, very important at this point in time, and must work to make sure that there are no encumbrances. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy spoke to a lot of relaxations in many areas. Digital Economy Minister too spoke about the fact that, you know what, India is a tech hub. Nigeria too is a tech hub. So as Nigeria is a tech hub for Africa, India is a tech hub for the world. Very important. As you can see there, Dr. Masoud Tijani is here. As you can see, there's the NASIMA president there with Olam Agri CEO, and that's Minister of Budget and Planning and myself. Okay, I mean, after a tete-a-tete. So very, very important here. Discussions and conversations. Organized private sector, very interesting.